This is the tragic but heroic story of Duke Thomas, a young man who started as Batman's last protege and became the final hope against an unstoppable force, the Death Wave. Duke was once a beacon of hope in Gotham City, training under Batman to become a hero. He was determined and full of promise, eager to follow in his mentor's footsteps. But his journey took a dark turn when Barbatos, the evil dragon of the multiverse, took control of Batman's body. Bruce Wayne became a terrifying monster and the Justice League was corrupted, transforming into dragons of destruction. The world that Duke once fought to protect was falling apart and his own mentor had turned against him. As Gotham and the rest of Earth crumbled, Duke realized that there was no saving his home. Still, he refused to give up. With no other choice, he escaped into the multiverse, determined to stop Barbatos and the Death Wave from destroying other worlds. For years, Duke traveled across different Earths, warning their heroes and trying to rally them against the Death Wave. But every time he failed, one by one the 51 alternate Earths fell, wiped out by Barbatos and his unstoppable power. Along the way, Duke discovered he had a special ability. He could see visions of the past, learning the histories of the worlds he visited. It helped him understand what was happening, but it wasn't enough to change the outcome. With the stolen suit of armor that allowed him to travel between dimensions, Duke kept fighting even as hope faded. He had seen countless people die, entire civilizations destroyed, and heroes fall. The weight of failure pressed down on him, but he kept going, believing his fight still mattered. Eventually, the Death Wave consumed the 51st world. With nowhere left to run, Duke returned to his home, Earth Metal. But what he found was a nightmare. Batman, now a monstrous being called the Dragon of the End, ruled over a twisted version of Gotham with his corrupted Justice League. The city was no longer recognizable. Duke tried to fight back, but was quickly overpowered. Just when it seemed like all was lost, Nightwing, his old friend, rescued him and took him to the Justice League watchtower. There, Duke found the last remaining heroes, Hawkgirl, the Flash, and a few others who had survived the destruction. They were broken, barely holding on, and filled with despair. But Duke refused to give up. He reminded them of what they once stood for, of the people who still needed them. He gave them hope. Inspired by his words, they came together for one final stand against Barbatos and his army. Their plan was risky. They freed a dragon that had been under the control of Batman, who laughs, and turned it against their enemies. It was a bold move, and for a moment it gave them hope. But the battle that followed was devastating. The sky burned, the earth shook, and dragons filled the air with their roars. One by one, Duke's allies fell, sacrificing themselves to push forward. In the end, Duke stood alone against the Dragon of the End, his former mentor Batman. The fight was brutal. Every attack from the dragon felt like a mountain crashing down on him. But Duke refused to surrender. Using his teleportation armor, he got inside the dragon's body and found what was left of Batman, still trapped inside, connected to the monstrous form. It was heartbreaking. With one final act, Duke cut the connections, killing the dragon and freeing Batman from his suffering. But the victory was empty. The Death Wave was still moving forward, consuming everything. Duke was the last survivor of Earth Metal, the only one left to witness the end of the multiverse. As the world faded into nothingness, Duke crafted a new suit from the dragon's skin, a symbol of his struggle. He took Nightwing's weapon, the Parallax, as a reminder of the sacrifice made. Now calling himself the Final Knight, he prepared for his last act of defiance. Using his teleportation belt, he escaped into the Dark Multiverse, a nightmarish realm of twisted realities and horrors. There he met Tempest Figurnaut, a mysterious being who observed the destruction without interfering. Enraged that someone could just watch as so many worlds were lost, Duke attacked him, leaving him unconscious. Now, as the Final Knight, Duke sets out once more, vowing to fight for every broken and corrupted world in the Dark Multiverse, even if he has to do it alone. This is the story of Duke Thomas, the last hero standing, a warrior forged in tragedy who refused to give up even as the multiverse crumbled around him.